Okay, then I gotta wait a couple seconds. Man, I really need to get some WD-40 for this chair, bro. What? What side should I put it on? Let me. No. As long as that is over here. Out. Boom. All right. What's up? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Went right to it. Sweet. Cool, 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 cool. All right. Let me see here. Hmm. No, I don't want that. Come on, bro. I need to dock this. Dock. All right, there we go. Morning. Good morning. Good morning. Absolutely. Any other dumb questions? Starting off already with dumb questions already. Crazy. Just starting. And already dumb question. Thinking to be commonsensical, you're sitting up there talking about someone's privilege because of their skin color. Yeah. Common sense. Of course it's racism. Thinking is not a crime. All right, looking good. All right, absolutely. Looking good, looking good, looking good, looking good. And here's the thing. It's this is indicative of a failed educational system here in the United States due to leftists taking over academia, and they're not educational centers anymore. They're just basically indoctrination centers. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Failed educational system. Um, can't have what we didn't create. Again, you guys, I got to tell you, the ignorance that is synonymous with racism. Europeans did not create the social construct of race. They added color into the social construct of race that started in the Iberian Peninsula when the Moors conquered the Iberian Peninsula, starting in 711 all the way to 1492. It is very important, especially when you come into this live, that you actually know what you're talking about. This is not a live for pseudo intellectualism. So it's definitely not one of your little, microcosms of perpetual insanity where you're constantly inundated with low IQ, historical revisionist, cultural Marxist, racist, communist, anti-American professors who are truly just activists, right? And the people who sit up there and they wish to say, well, darker melanated people can't be racist. They can be prejudiced. I got to tell you that it's indicative of postmodernism, ideological subversion, you guys, stupidity, and circular reasoning. Okay. And people love to resort to that just to hide their damn racism. Thinking is not a crime. Kind of crazy, isn't it? How people go like, "Hey, we can't stop something that we didn't create." Don't even know anything about objective history pertaining to the institution of slavery. Like you guys, I got to tell you, just being constantly inundated with low IQ individuals, it just gets it becomes mentally perplexing. Um, let's see, who's watching over on YouTube, or is that Facebook, or is it both? If you're over on YouTube, press a 2. If you're over on Facebook, press a 1. Let me see where you guys are coming in from. It's pretty awesome. Not to the people over on TikTok. I know you're over on TikTok. Talking to my people over on YouTube and Facebook. For the person, it's historically ignorant. Basically said you can't have what we didn't create and all that kind of crap, right? It's just here's the thing with field your eggs. When you said that can't have what you didn't create, I agree with that 100%. But here's the thing, and because I'm primarily addressing Lou, this is one of the things I keep noticing, you guys, especially with darker melanated leftist people. They basically have the triple K mentality. You just don't know it because they're desensitized to it, because they come from these ubiquitous microcosms of perpetual insanity, and they're doomed to remain in these stagnant conditions, because one of the things that is synonymous with the leftist ideology is that it erodes critical thinking skills, and that leads to mental stagnation. And we know this is why so many people, especially from the darker melanated leftist community, they reside in these highly volatile conditions. And it's the same gripe, okay? In some of these districts for over a century, same gripe, the acute victimhood mentality, blaming somebody else, blame the lighter melanated American, aka to be colloquial, the white man for everything, you guys, because of the ideology. It's a primitive ideology. It's a terrible ideology, you guys. It completely is inimical towards progression. And it's the ideology that will love to, I call it the crab in the bucket mentality. If you speak proper English, if you focus on your studies and all that kind of crap, they call you a sellout. They call you a coon. They don't even know how to properly. They say, you're an Uncle Tom, but they never ever read Uncle Tom's Cabin. And if they would have read Uncle Tom's Cabin, they know that Uncle Tom was the hero when Sambo was the villain in the book. You guys, it is an ideology that is completely shrouded in ignorance and stagnation. I hate the ideology because we know that it comes from slave owners, right? Anyway, what is good is, let's just jump right into it, you guys. No introduction even needed. You guys know I'm fully committed to this effort to destroy the social construct of the race, because it is completely destroying my country, and it has always held my country back from greatness, okay? So anyway, we know at these leftist institutions of insanity across the United States, you guys, one of the things that definitely does violate the 1964 Civil Rights Act is you're not even supposed to be institutionally teaching anything that is predicated upon race, you guys, that actually stokes division, separatism, animus, vitriol, and etc. But they do it, right? Because again, it is the ideology that brought racism to the United States, because their ideology literally comes from slave owners, okay? They cannot operate outside of their worldview. Again, social construct of race is a pseudoscience, okay? It was started by the elites. It is a Luciferian, globalist, satanic construct that is all about inequality, and etc. You guys, this is why I keep telling people this leftist ideology is the greatest existential threat to the Western civilization and the entire planet. It destroys everything that it touches. Okay, and a lot of these institutions, leftist institutions, you guys, for a while they were teaching that lighter melanated Americans, aka whites, are privileged. There's a problem with that because when they have been teaching that whites are privileged, this is the definition, the way they define white privilege, you guys, okay? It is an inherent advantage possessed by a white person on the basis of their membership in a society that is characterized by racial inequality and injustice. But in the United States today, when you talk to these leftists, because they're so indoctrinated, when you talk to their professors because they're so stupid, right? And you wonder why, the student body is so stupid, why they're mentally DOA, okay? You go, hey, can you give us one law or one policy that is on the books today that discriminates against minorities? There are none whatsoever that discriminates against minorities. In order to have a society that is characterized by racial inequality and injustice, you will have to have legislation, policies, the system. Like back then, you would know who was responsible if they were a representative who was racist, Democrat. We all know that, right? Responsible for Jim Crow, black codes, segregation, and etc. You can always go directly to that politician who was in the system, who was racist, that made the system racist. A system cannot be racist on its own. It has to have agency. We know that racism is a social, we know the social construct of race, right? It's a social construct. We know that racism is a byproduct of that, right? A system has to have agency. A system by itself cannot be racist. A system by itself cannot have intent. Only agency gives that system intent. Therefore, a person has to be within the system implementing legislation, policy, in order for America to be characterized by racial inequality and injustice towards minorities. But there's no legislation or policies on the books that prevents minorities in this country from being able to do the same thing that lighter melanated Americans can do in this country. Now, here's another problem. And this is why, you guys, I hate postmodernism, okay? I hate idiocracy. This is all leftist ideology actually is, okay? Just full-blown, low IQ, pseudo-intellectualism, okay? And the thing is, privilege means a special right, an advantage, and immunity that is granted or available only to a particular person or group. Each and every time we talk to these troglodytes and we go, hey, okay, since you're saying that someone is privileged, and especially because of the color of their skin, tell us one thing in the United States that only the lighter melanated community can do that no one else can. And they go, I can't. That's because everything that comes out their mouth is stupid. It doesn't make sense. It's never, ever rooted in objective reality. This ideology is all about emotionalism. This is why they are always left holding the dummy stick when it's all said and done. And this is why their worldview is shattered with the slightest perusal. It is barbaric. It is primitive. And I keep telling people it's diametrically opposed to our constitutional republic. Our constitutional republic is for a moralistic people, not a hedonistic, immoral society. And this is what they don't understand. They're never going to be able to grasp spiritual concepts. They do not have a spiritual mind. They do not have a spiritual conscience. They are spiritually bankrupt, therefore reprobate, spiritually dead, therefore mentally and spiritually depraved. And so, of course, when you subscribe to a satanic, elitist, autocratic, dictatorial, totalitarianistic worldview, you cannot grasp spiritual concepts. This is why they believe that morality is subjective. Again, I keep telling you guys, everything about this ideology, it destroys what it touches, okay? This is why this ideology lords over every inner city ghetto in the United States. This is why this ideology controls all of the districts with the highest illiteracy rates, the highest unaliving rates, even though they have the strictest pew laws, gun laws, okay? High crime. And then also, too, you can fact check me on this. One of the things that is a staggering correlation, but self-explanatory to us who know political American history objectively here in this country, is that within the Democratic apparatus, you guys, the amount of single parents who vote Democrat, close to 80%. It's self-explanatory, it speaks for itself. And I keep telling people, if their ideology was superior, if it was actually productive or conducive, how come they lord over the worst areas in the United States? How come they continue to vote for terrible policy and then don't even remain in that district, but move after they feel the consequences of their terrible policy? They move to somewhere else, then destroy that district. You guys, I want my country to start to wake up and be just brutally honest and start calling a spade a spade. America is not suffering from a racist issue. America is not suffering from a white or a black problem. America has been suffering from leftist supremacy. Under the Biden administration, you guys, we witnessed the modern day slave trade take place. But see, they have Stockholm syndrome, especially the darker melanated leftist community that has been residing in this inner city ghettos. Stockholm syndrome. Isn't Biden the one that spearheaded the 94 crime bill that was disproportionately responsible for having the most darker melanated people going to jail? That's something else that him and Harris had in common. They both have a great record of having darker melanated males disproportionately arrested due to their policies. Donald Trump pushes the First Step Act. The majority of the people who benefit from the First Step Act and the low 90 percentile were darker melanated people who were negatively impacted by the 94 crime bill. And still a lot of them got out and voted for Joe Biden. Now, getting back to where I said under the Biden administration, we witnessed the modern day slave trade take place. We saw the great replacement take place. See, the Democrats, again, their ideology comes from slave owners. We know who created the Democratic apparatus. And people keep thinking that a evil, wicked, barbaric ideology is going to change. It's not going to change. That is its default setting. This ideology, again, is literally from the pit of hell. It's all about political expediency. So during the Biden administration, because they know that people have been leaving the Democratic Party in droves, how can your base remain substantive? How can your base remain reliable when the people in your base are known for unaliving themselves in their own districts? How can people get out and vote if they're Democrats, where a lot of the people who are, I don't know, eligible to vote, if there's high incarceration rates? How can you sustain your base when they keep aborting their babies at a disproportionately significantly higher rate than their counterparts in the United States? stink. So Biden administration goes, well, you know what? Let's resort to the modern day slave trade. Illegals. That's why the illegals, they put them in the darker, melanated, leftist, democratic communities all across the United States and call it a sanctuary city. They completely have disenfranchised their own loyal, most loyal base. And not only did they replace them, they treated their own constituency as second-class citizens, completely marginalized their own constituency for the sake of their replacements, while still taking their constituency's money and dispersing preferential treatment to illegals. Crazy, right? Talking about Stockholm Syndrome, talking about being stuck on stupid, talking about being insane, severely detached from objective reality. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so, you guys, one of the things that causes this psychosis that makes a person cage state part of the lockstep, the monolith, the hive mind, divine loyalty to stupidity and inimical practices, is the social construct of race. There's no one per capita that I know that's more racist, more bitter, more ignorant, more illiterate than a darker melanated leftist community. And that is by design. These inner city ghettos are so reminiscent of plantations. Plantations, they didn't want you to learn how to read and write. They do the same damn thing in every inner city ghetto. Plantations, you get your provision from the master. They do the same damn thing in every inner city ghetto today. Welfare. We know that welfare leads to entropy. It makes a person lazy. It fosters laziness. What's the point of getting up to strive for greatness, to chase the American dream, when all you have to do is drop out of high school, have kids, and get on government assistance? Generational trap, democratic social conditioning, all stemming from the pseudoscience known as the social construct of race that's not rooted in the biological reality whatsoever. The darker melanated leftist community, per capita, worships government and not God. Embraces each and every practice that diminishes their numbers. Hops on every initiative that the establishment fosters and disperses to them. And takes it hook, line, and sinker. No questions. I'm going to say this again. Malcolm X said this 65 years ago when he was talking to the darker melanated community. He told them, do not adopt this leftist mindset. It is the worst thing in the northern or western hemispheres, he said. The worst thing, and I agree with Malcolm X 100% about that. So true. So true. He said that 65 years ago. But then also a very important adage that a lot of people leave out of the conversation is that after Malcolm X said that, he said to the darker melanated community, you are voting 80% right now for the Democratic Party. And they still are not representing you, but you keep supporting them. And they have not done anything for you. He said, you are a fool. You are a dummy. You are a sellout. Yeah, that's what he said. You don't believe me? Go ahead and pull it up. And I got to tell you, this is why today, you guys, we get so many people, especially from the darker, melanated leftist community. The sellout part, oh, it is so true. Let's tie it together. Give me reparations. What do you need reparations for? You were never a slave. You never experienced black codes. You never experienced Jim Crow. You never experienced segregation. You never experienced a damn plantation. What do you need reparations for? So what? You get reparations, all of a sudden now you forget that your ancestors were slaves. You get some money, all of a sudden you're going to shut your mouth. Yeah, sell out. Absolutely. Well, that's why I'm a radical Republican, just like the Freemen. I'm a radical Republican, just like those who created the GOP. That's right. Focus on what? Content of character? Hard work? The pursuit of the American dream? I've never witnessed so many people so free today, and they choose to be a mental slave, and it's based on their own volition. It's self-induced. It is 100% self-induced. And yet, this is why we're seeing so much hypocrisy from the darker melanated leftist community. They hate the Triple K, but they talk and they do everything just like the Triple K back in old America. Assaulting people because of the color of their skin. We need to call a spade a spade. We need to be brutally honest. When you go on social media and you look at who's being attacked disproportionately by which other demographic, it's darker melanated leftists who are always attacking other demographics. It's darker melanated leftists who are residing in these leftist hellholes who are saying we need to completely be racist against all Hispanics. We need to be racist against Africans. We need to be racist against Asians. It's darker melanated leftists acting just like the Triple K because they have adopted the Triple K's ideology, because they support the damn Triple K's party. That's why they use Triple K terminology. It comes out of their mouth every time. And I keep saying this, it's not what goes in a man that makes him unclean, it's what comes out. It lets you know what kind of spirit resides within that individual. And this is why when you hold the darker melanated leftist community to task, that's why Triple K terminology comes out of their mouth every time. They have an evil spirit of racism. I keep telling my base this. This is the most insidious ideology in existence to date. It is literally from the pits of hell. But see, much to their dismay, darker melanated leftist community, they don't understand that they have to keep paying the higher price. Because with a lighter melanated leftist, as we saw during the George Floyd riots, when they went across the United States and disproportionately burned down darker melanated communities, yeah, the lighter melanated leftist, referring to Antifa and all those kind of people coming from the burbs, going to the inner cities and encouraging the darker melanated leftists to burn down their own damn communities, businesses, gas stations, police precincts, kids coming from the burbs. Burn down the darker melanated community. The darker melanated community is left with no infrastructure, but yet those lighter melanated leftists, they'll leave the damn darker melanated community and take their asses right back to the burbs and sleep like they haven't destroyed a whole damn community. Malcolm X warned the darker melanated community about this leftist ideology 65 years ago. The Democrats. If you're just coming into the live, I made the point about the modern day slave trade. It took place under the Biden administration and had they placed illegals in the darker melanated community who were not vetted. But during CV-19, wasn't this the ideology that resorted to draconianism, violated the United States Constitution, forced you to shut down your business, talking about you need to get the jab, and if you don't get the jab, you need to be forcibly quarantined because you are considered a public safety threat? Follow the science, right? That's what they were saying, right? And this is the reason why we are going to completely violate your constitutional rights and tell you to shut down your business after we incited people to burn down your business a little bit before. And again, they put those illegals right there in the darker melanated community, unvetted, violent people. Extensive records with grape, essay, murders on their record, cartel ties. Then what's weird is how the illegals all of a sudden happen to acquire firearms in the darker melanated community and take over apartment complexes. Talking about being replaced, but stuck on stupid, can't even realize it. Rubbing salt in the wound. Because before the Biden administration did that, almost every inner city ghetto across the United States, you guys, the Democrats, they said we don't have any funding, didn't they? Yeah, they did. They closed down activity centers. They ended some extracurricular activities because they said they just don't have the funding, right? They closed down schools, libraries. They said we didn't have the funding. Then all of a sudden, when the illegals get here, they got the funding to give cash or cards with cash on it. Give them a luxury as accommodations. That's that political expediency that I was talking about. That is reducing an entire demographic or constituency to a commodity and letting them know that they are expendable. And that's what they continue to do. This is what the Democrats will always continue to do. Again, this whole entire ideology, why it's so important, literally comes from slave owners. And people keep thinking that it's going to change. It is literally, again, from the pits of hell. So, why is all that important? Because it's analogous to my prompt. We know that race is an ignorant, lazy man's ideology. It's not real. But here's the hypocrisy. They're supposed to be so hypervigilant. They're supposed to be so self-conscious, right? Oh, I'm in the conscious movement. I'm talking about the darker melanated leftists. And yet they continue to identify with a social construct that is truly supremacy. That is, and they identify with a construct that's all about implementing a hierarchy that is based on inequality. Talking about being stuck on stupid. And I keep telling people, we focus on facts here, not opinions. Everything that's coming out of my mouth can be substantiated with a single damn Google search. By default, when you believe in the social construct of race, you are a racist because it's a pseudoscience. Pseudoscience, you cannot apply the scientific method to it. It's not quantifiable because there's nothing tangible to observe. but it creates a false set of beliefs. Hence, we'll get people up here so completely indoctrinated. And due to the indoctrination and the double think that has the double speak coming out of a person that did a modern day Manchurian candidate, you go, hey, you subscribe to the social construct of race, you cage state. Well, let me prove to you why it's completely idiotic and moronic. And yet, we witness the cognitive dissonance all the time, don't we? When I say, hey, I ask a very simple question, and anyone with critical thinking skills, they know how to respond accordingly. But if you do not have any critical thinking skills and you're indoctrinated, this is how they respond. What color is my skin? And they will look at me, puzzled, confused, discombobulated. Your skin is black when my damn skin is brown. Cognitive dissonance. George Orwellian wrote a book about this kind of a system, didn't he? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Modern day Manchurian candidates. You guys, this social construct of race is dangerous. It keeps racism alive. Racism is real. The social construct of race is a farce. It's fake. And I keep telling people, you can't separate yourself from it, since it is a pseudoscience. And if you subscribe to a pseudoscience, you are by default rendered a pseudo-intellectual. And this is why we keep constantly getting inundated with pseudo-intellectualism, hypocrisy, double standards. I want my country to start telling the truth. There are some things that are and should be rendered subhuman ideologies. And the leftist ideology is a subhuman ideology. You cannot tell me otherwise when you examine the evidence. You can't. So, how do we get off the hamster wheel of insanity? By destroying the true source of racism, by addressing the lie and pulling it, uprooting it by its weeds, known as the social damn construct of race. Why would a person claim to hate racism and subscribe to the social construct of race when they should know about its true origins? One must think. Can one be a racist without the social construct of race? Absolutely not. Does tribalism predate the social construct of race? Yes, so does the human element, and so does the institution of slavery. Before the social construct of race was actually laid its foundations, the institution of slavery was started way before in summer Mesopotamia by darker melanated people. Oh, facts don't care about your feelings now, does it? For all the people who don't know, yes, Mesopotamia is older than Egypt. Get it? Correct. Again, as I alluded to before previously, we started to see the foundations of the social construct of race being laid Iberian Peninsula once the Moors conquered it and enslaved a group called the Slavs. And this is where the word slavery actually comes from, the enslavement of the Slavs, who were lighter melanated people. But no one talks about the Arab slave trade that started late 6th century. They enslaved Africans. You think those Africans weren't enslaved because they had a different shade of skin? Absolutely, they were. They don't tell you. In China, 722, China, they were practicing racism. But see, with this ideology that is completely satanic, right? It lies to you. And one of the ways that it lies to you is by hiding objective world history, and especially objective history pertaining to the origins of the social construct of race and the objective world history or history pertaining to the institution of slavery. We still have people so indoctrinated right here in the United States, they believe that chattel slavery actually started in the United States when it was in Northern Africa, way before the damn start of the transatlantic slave trade. And talking about tons of inconsistencies, and talking about selective historical disdain that they have indoctrinated people to have right here in the United States due to historical revisionism or complete historical eraser. They go, we need to hold the lighter, melanated people responsible today because of what their ancestors have done, and yet they give Africa a pass. Yet they give their own selves a pass when right here in the United States, at its peak, at its height of the institution of slavery, you had over 3,775 darker melanated slave owners. They hide the very fact that the first legal slave owner in this country, colony of Virginia from Angola, Africa, that came over as a indentured servant named Antonio Johnson, was the first legal slave owner in the United States. They hide the very fact that there were 5 indigenous tribes right here in the United States that owned between 8,000 to 9,000 darker melanated slaves. And I'm gonna let you know, some of these darker melanated slave owners, some of them owned lighter melanated slaves. They hide the fact, it's called white cargo, that the first official slaves that actually come to the United States were the British, the Irish, and the Scots, over 300,000 under the title of indentured servant. But again, if I work you to death, are you an indentured servant? No. That's why they had a higher mortality rate than the darker melanated slave. That's why, after Bacon's Rebellion, 1667, when the Irish and the Africans joined forces to rebel against the elites, and then for the very first time, a law was passed in Maryland, 1705. White cannot marry African. And guess who suffered the harshest punishment or consequences if they did not comply with that law? The lighter melanated American. So when we get people that come up in here because they don't know anything about objective American history, because they're indoctrinated, they're not being exposed to all points of views. That's what college used to be when I went to college. You were exposed to all point of views. But these colleges today, you guys, I gotta tell you, they're not a damn college. Second part, just to piggyback about the hypocrisy and the selective historical disdain and the racism that is completely attached to it. A lot of these darker melanated Americans, again, as they say, these lighter melanated people need to pay the consequences of what their ancestors done. And yet, each and every African who was sold during the transatlantic slave trade was sold by a damn African. You had the Ashanti Empire. Slavery contributed to the majority of their GDP. You had King Gizu of Dahomey, Africa. Slavery contributed over 90% to their damn GDP. You have the Ashanti Empire. Selling slaves contributed a significantly majority portion of their damn GDP. A lot of people don't even know that most of the Africans perished before they can even be transported right there on the damn Ivory Coast. Talking about the selective outrage that is completely shrouded in hypocrisy and racism. Ignorance is synonymous with racism, my fellow American brothers and sisters. That's why I'm a radical Republican, and I'm a radical Republican because I'm a patriot, and I'm a patriot because I am a Christian. As Benjamin Franklin said, there are three indispensable pillars that makes a person a patriot. And if you remove one, he is not a patriot. Love God and serve God. Love your family. Oh, no, love your country and then your family. If you remove any one of those, you are not a patriot. Benjamin Rush, one of my favorite founding fathers. Yes, at one point in time, was he a slave owner? Yes, he was. But see, we embrace our dark, ugly history. And it makes it a lot easier for you to embrace your country's dark, ugly history, because you realize that once you start to do objective research and learn objective American history, you'll learn that we had over 300 founding fathers and only 41 of them owned slaves. A majority of the 41 ended up giving up their slaves. But Benjamin Rush is one of my favorite founding fathers. He was the number one most educated who actually gave a lot of people their doctorates. But Benjamin Rush said this too. This is the old responsibility of public schools back then. They were supposed to teach the kids the three indispensable pillars about what being a patriot actually is. But he phrased it differently. He said the duty of public school is to teach our children to love God and serve God. Love your country, serve your country. Love your family and serve your family. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, isn't it? I'm telling you, our founding fathers were way ahead. And this is why we have become the youngest country in comparison to others that have had centuries of a head start over us. But this is why we have become, because of our founding documents, because of the principles that are associated with our founding documents, because of the wisdom that was actually put into our founding documents. We know that wisdom only comes from God. That's why we were catapulted ahead of every country in human history, because we are a constitutional republic, and the only constitutional republic of its kind known to human history. And that's why we have become the greatest country known to mankind. Not because of us, but because of who our constitutional republic is founded upon: Christ. Christian principles, morals, and ethics. Why is all of this important? Because due to those principles, morals, and ethics, we know that in the preamble, you guys, of the Declaration of Independence, we know that it definitely does say that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed with certain inalienable rights. I'm going to say it one more time. We know that it says that all men are created equal and are endowed with certain inalienable rights. And inalienable right only comes from God. And that means that government cannot take it away. In a democracy, government gives you your rights and government can take your rights away. That's why we're a constitutional republic. So you never, ever lose your rights that are inalienable. But they don't understand the fundamental distinction between a constitutional republic and a democracy, because they have been indoctrinated. But you guys, it goes hand in hand. I'm revealing the concerted effort that started in the late 1700s to slowly erode us from within, to make Americans forget their identity, to make them intellectually lazy, so that this way they are young and impressionable. And when you're young and impressionable and you're also stupid, you become subject to a person who knows how to use their mind because you have been taught not to use yours. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you wonder why. Due to this secular humanism, aka leftist or leftism, we have third worldism flooding into our constitutional republic. We have people coming from a primitive culture with primitive political views and a completely primitive worldview, and they're bringing it right here to our constitutional republic to destroy it and implement communism, claiming to be socialist. Because in the United States, you cannot run as a communist. Tied together. And you guys, what's their favorite weapon? The social construct of race, and emotionally hijacking the impressionable, the gullible, by using historical grievances, by misrepresenting American history, to give you the impression that they can do it better when they know damn well that they can't. But they keep using the social construct of race so they can emotionally pull at people's heartstrings. They keep using people's unforgiveness. And that's the thing that's so crazy about this ideology. Remember, I keep telling you, this is a 100% delusional ideology that hates objective reality. A lot of these people have historical disdain for America because they try to live vicariously through somebody else's plight and try to self-identify with it and try to make somebody else's plight that they are completely detached from their own. And this is, again, this is what makes them so impressionable, so gullible. We need to start telling the truth, you guys, if we want the full restoration of our constitutional republic. If you really want to participate in the American great experiment by making our country a hell of a lot better, you have to remove the obstacle. This leftist ideology is all about sowing seeds of discord and disunity amongst our people. And here's the thing about the hypocrisy. They have the same ideology as the slave owner, the same ideology as the Triple K. This is why it's the same methodology with a different execution. This same ideology made America racist in the past, same ideology today, trying to recreate the old America of the past, just in a different way. In the past, this primitive, barbaric, subhuman, elitist ideology, they were targeting minorities. Today, this satanic, barbaric, elitist, primitive ideology, they're targeting the majority, lighter, melanated Americans. This ideology thrives off of hatred and vitriol. That's all it knows. It's from the pits of hell. You know it, and I know it. They don't care about content of character. The accurate portrayal of what I'm talking about. The perfect personification of everything that I'm talking about right now. Do you remember during the Carmelo Anthony trial? Before the verdict, right? A few days before the verdict, when you had the darker, melanated leftists with the Triple K mentality said, we don't care about the facts. We're going to support him because of the color of his skin. Remember that? Don't you know the Triple K used to do that too in the past, especially down south when they burned down a darker, melanated, conservative, radical Republican town? Mm-hmm. They did that in Black Wall Street. That was built by darker, melanated conservatives. Rosewood, darker, melanated conservatives, not leftist, not Democrat. Not only did they burn down darker melanated conservative towns, they unalived conservatives, light or darker melanated conservatives in Congress down south. They hated you if you were a radical Republican. Just like today, they have the Triple K mentality and they hate radical Republicans. Using these same racial slurs, pejoratives, and epithets as the damn Triple K in the past, and have the audacity and the gall to call people sellouts and Uncle Toms and Sambos and coons and etc. Troglodyte subhuman ideology is always going to be stuck on the hamster wheel of stupidity, always repeating history. Watch this. Proof in the pudding. If you don't believe what I'm saying about this barbaric, primitive, subhuman ideology, if you don't believe me, if you are a lighter, melanated American, I dare you to go to Gary, Indiana, and try to walk your ass down the street. You don't believe me? Go to South Side or West Side Chicago and try to walk down the street. Go to Baltimore, Maryland, and try to walk down the damn street. Hell, even for darker melanated leftists, they can't walk down the damn street in their own damn communities because another darker melanated leftist at a high 90 percentile is most likely to take his damn life. The most dangerous place for a darker melanated baby is the mother's womb. I keep telling people I'm the wrong host to come into my live and make these dumb utopianistic appeals that are not rooted in objective reality whatsoever. Again, this is one of the dumbest tropes I've ever heard. When people go, you want to know how to end racism? Stop talking about it. Can you imagine if the radical Republicans said, hey, you want to end slavery? Stop talking about it. That is one of the dumbest things I hear people say or read that people say. One of the dumbest things that I unfortunately that I have to witness. That's a coward's appeal. No, if you want the cure-all, the panacea for the root cause of the problem, you address the damn root cause of the problem and eliminate it. But let me be careful about the words that I actually use because we know we're dealing with the most deceptive, demonic, evil, conniving ideology in existence to date. They love to twist your words and create fake news, misinformation, disinformation, right? So you got to be careful. You got to make sure you let your yay be a yay and a nay be a nay around this satanic ideology. This is why they thrive on fake news. Legacy media knows they're stupid. Legacy media doesn't even live up to the standard of journalism when appealing to their base. Do they? Nope. They're just like, yeah, majority of our people who completely just drink the Kool-Aid, we'll just give them something that's really just headline worthy, but nothing substantive after that. You guys, the reason why I have zero tolerance for this satanic barbaric ideology that is subhuman, not only is it mentally vexing, emotionally, it hurts. It grieves you spiritually because it's so wicked. Right? Isn't it crazy that this is the same ideology that can't tell you what a woman is? But wasn't it the same ideology that told you to follow the science? Now all of a sudden you don't follow the science? Isn't this the same ideology that did not want to give women their rights? Yep. Yep, it is. But isn't it the same ideology to today that didn't want to give women their rights that's taking rights away from biological women? To what? Pander? To a man? Yeah, that ideology. Same ideology that goes, okay, not only is it suffice to unalive your child in the womb, how about you castrate them chemically or with the blade? That's not enough, right? Why don't you talk to them about adult matters, such as sex, and give them the appeal to the alternative lifestyle and destroy their innocence by being a perverted pedo? This ideology. This is the ideology, you guys, that sits up here talking about we have your best interests at heart. They will convince a person to transition. But if that person wakes up and they snap out of the spell, this is the same group that convinced that person to transition. When that person detransitions, that detransitioner has to hire bodyguards. You guys, we are dealing again with the most satanic, subhuman, barbaric ideology in existence to date that is literally from the pits of hell. And everything is about some form of manipulation with this ideology. And it's not good form of manipulation. This is the ideology that puts on the mask, and it's the best at acting. It acts like it cares for you. It acts like it will be there for you. This is the ideology that literally holds people's hands and tells them, get into the studio. And that's right, promote that ratchet ass gangster culture music that you know that is completely rotten the minds and the conscience of your damn youth. It is the same damn ideology to grab a woman by her hand, disproportionately a darker melanated leftist woman, and tell them, oh, we love you. Go ahead and destroy that innocent life inside of your womb. Yeah, that's right. Fulfill Margaret Sanger's agenda. Same ideology, you guys, are the grandstanders and the false altruism from these lighter melanated leftists. I'm so privileged. You're a victim. That's what they always say. That's the underlying theme, you guys. That is the subliminal messaging coming from these troglodytes. It's always the darker melanated person is always in need of help because they're too mentally deficient or too mentally destitute to actually excel on their own. They need me to be their savior when it's actually their damn ideology that creates all of the problems. Satanic ideology. It's all theatrics. It's all optics. It's all political theater. I hate this damn ideology. It doesn't belong in my constitutional republic. So I'm fully committed to exposing it continuing to change hearts and minds, not expecting perfection, but imperfection while doing it. And yes, I've been fully committed to this agenda since we started over a year and 4 months ago, and we have over 500 conversions. But for a lot of you that have known me for over the years, all glory to Yeshua, you know that that Yeshua has used me to transform the hearts and the minds of over 10,000 men alone, not counting others. And so the thing is, you guys, is that we got a lot of work to do. We know why we're losing our country. We know why people are perishing. It's due to ignorance. And because due to this fake version of Christianity that I call commercialized Christianity, leftist Christianity, and I'm going to say this for the record, and I hope this does offend you because it's true. There's no such thing as a leftist Christian. There's no such thing as a Christian secular humanist. None whatsoever. That's one of the biggest problems in our country. Fake Christianity that turns supposed to be bold, righteous man into cowards who are good at speaking Christianese and only bold at church on Sunday. This weak, watered down, hyper grace, demonic version of Christianity that makes the man not the protector of his family anymore. So now the woman is vulnerable to all of the attacks. And when a man is out of place, the woman is out of place. Who is there to protect their children? This is why this ideology is so hell-bent on destroying the most successful blueprint known to mankind, the nuclear family. There's no more successful blueprint than the mother and the father. This ideology is behind. Watch this. And oh my goodness, it's true, but you're going to be pissed, but it's true. A lot of homosexual P3POs are behind a lot of these sexual, what they call revolutions or resolutions, or what they call new social constructs that are not rooted in biological reality, such as LGBTQ+. Yep, it's true. Keep telling people, when you subscribe to a satanic ideology, birds of the same feather will always flock together. Light and dark does not mix. I keep telling people that. You can't serve two masters. I keep telling people that. And this ideology has convinced Christians to only be Christian at Sunday and secular when it comes to voting. How crazy is that? I'm telling you. We got a lot of work to do in our constitutional republic. How can you keep a constitutional republic when a constitutional republic is only for a moralistic society? How can you have a moralistic society when you take off God every time when it comes for you to vote? When your vote truly counts, you deny God before men. You're not a Christian. What does Yeshua say? You deny me before men? What does he say he'll do to you? That's right. He will deny you. Wake up, America. The vote is one of the boldest statements you can make as a Christian. I don't rock with these half-hearts. You will not catch these half-heart, bleeding heart cowards in my circle. I don't rock with cowards. I don't rock with half-hearts. I know this is a spiritual battle. I expect tons of adversity and hardship. But coming along with those expectations, realistic biblical expectation, I know I'm doing something right when this demonic fallen world hates me because I don't belong to them. That lets me know I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right track. I don't belong to them. I am a non-contrarian. I'm a non-conformist. I refuse to conform to this wicked damn ideology. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Let me tell you something. Either we all end up with two choices when it's all said and done. We got two choices right now, right? But when it's all said and done, and a lot of people, when they're actually given that option to make that final choice, you guys, make that final, if they're given that option to make that choice, if it actually comes to them, a lot of people, we know this, they spend a lot of their lives, majority of their lives, talking about, I hate God. And then when it's time to die, all of a sudden they want to cry out for God. I've never known anyone who has served God their entire life, and when they're about to die, they go, oh, I hate God, I reject God. Never. It's always the other way around. So I'm telling you right now, you can't serve two masters. But I will tell you this, though. Every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. Jesus is Lord. He is. And you guys, if you're wondering what that sound is, that's my coffee. I need another cup before we actually jump into the good stuff, because I'm telling you, you guys, one of the things that's really, really, really troubling, really hard, okay, that requires a lot of patience is dealing with this satanic ideology, especially in debate. Especially in debate. These people are such in a fallen state, they lie so much, they're desensitized to it. It's tragic. But watch. Mark my words, watch. It's pseudo-intellectualism on the big screen. Watch. I'm serious. Pseudo-intellectualism on the big screen. Watch. But watch the hypocrisy that's associated with it. I'm telling you. It's a wicked ideology. And if you're looking for horns to recognize evil, you have already lost the battle already. Stop looking for horns. Start paying attention to fruit. Then you'll know the tree. Indeed. Anyway, you guys, I want you to be prepared to be mentally perplexed. Unfortunately, what's synonymous with this ideology is that they have a hard time following simple instructions. Unfortunately, they have a hard time comprehending simple things. Unfortunately. But we have to stick to the format. We have to stick to the structure of the live. So, if you disagree with the prompt, up here you're not an op, I'm going to ban you. Opposition only. I do not want to hear from people who agree with me. Get out of my way. Don't get in my way. For the people who disagree with this prompt, when you come up, tell us why you disagree with the prompt without talking about yourself. We don't need anecdotals, okay? And hold off on your questions. Just tell us why you disagree with the prompt without talking about yourself, and hold off on your questions. It is that simple. So I'm telling you guys right now, go ahead, get your favorite snack, and if you have your breakfast ready, I'm telling you, it's about to get interesting. I always like to tell people, grab your Takis, grab your popcorn, grab your favorite beverage of choice. It's about to get interesting. But I want you guys to remember my opening monologue, because that is my indictment against this ideology. And I got to tell you, you are the jury. Be fully objective. Then when I conclude this live, I would like to hear your verdict. It's time for this ideology to go. And you guys, I'm all about winning the most peaceful war with no physical casualties, but demonic ideological casualties only. I love being in the arena of thought. Anyway, so let me say it one more time. Opposition only. That is what ops only means. If you agree with me and you come up here, I'm telling you, I don't care who you are, I will ban you for breaking the rules of my life. And this movement is not about you. Stay your ass out of my lane. Opposition only. Come on up, tell us why you disagree without talking about yourself, and hold off on your questions. Simple. But I'm a realist. Let's see if we can do it. Let's see if we can get people to follow the rules of the live. I don't know, you guys. I'm a little reluctant to do it because I think I can determine the outcome. Daniel, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, my man, go ahead and tell us why you disagree with the prompt without talking about yourself, and hold off on your questions.
All right. I'm kind of split on this one. First off, thank you for what you do. I appreciate it. At least your argument comes from a foundation of fact, versus emotion, when it comes to the whole white privilege debate, I believe that like people on the right, primarily white people, believe when white privilege is said, they think it comes from a place of, financial stability and prosperity and possession.
Hey, Daniel, give me 1 second. They're saying you have an echo. Give me 1 second. Can you guys still hear the echo? No? So, here. Daniel, go ahead and unmute.
How are we now?
Let's see. Is there still echo? How bad is it?
Are we good, or are we still coming through wrong?
Oh, it's bad? Give me a second, Daniel.
Sure.
Okay, Daniel, go ahead and say something. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You guys, is there still echo now? On Daniel's end, you guys hear echo still? Wow, much clearer. Sounds good. All right, so give me a second, Daniel, guys. Let me, Daniel, can you do me a favor? Can you keep talking for me right quick? I need to test out to make sure that they can still hear me on my other platforms.
Yeah,
Daniel, keep talking.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, like I said, I wanted to start by first saying thank you for what you do. I appreciate it and respect it because your argument comes from a place of historical fact versus, you know, just emotional distortions. So that I very much appreciate, and I appreciate you giving a platform for people to step up and say their piece.
Mm-hmm.
You know, primarily in opposition to your prompts.
Okay, yeah, I got you, Daniel. You're all good. You can keep talking.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So when it comes to the debate of white privilege and what it's meant and implied by, I think some of it comes from, you know, what's the foundational basis of what white privilege is or isn't. You know, I believe people on the right, primarily white people, believe when somebody says you have white privilege, they feel the white people believe that it's from a place of financial prosperity, financial stability, and, you know, physical assets and possessions. You know, they believe that they're saying, well, you have more than me because you're white. But on the flip side, from the left, you know, black and white people on the left side believe that white privilege comes from a place of, you know, legislation, of law and constitutional rights. And they believe it comes from a place of, you know, not having the same opportunity as white people when it really is, you know, not having the same consideration. So I think a lot of the debate has to come down to what's the foundational basis for how you define and how you perceive the term white privilege.
You done? Can you hear me? Daniel?
Yes. Yes.
You can hear me?
I got you.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So Daniel, here's the problem, right? Everything that you just said, it sounds appealing, right? It doesn't address the root cause of the problems, right?
Right.
And it's circular. That's the problem.
Right. No, I agree. I agree with that, that perspective.
Yeah, so that means it makes no sense, right? Whatsoever, right? It sounds good, but it still makes no sense, right?
Right.
Anyway, people do have the correct understanding about what white privilege conveys, what it entails. It's racism, number one.
Yes.
Number two, it is an indictment against another group. The very fact that it's called white privilege is axiomatic, okay? And it's fully indicative of a person with an ignorant world view. For you to draw the conclusion, we know that prejudice means a preconceived notion that's not rooted in a fact or actual experience. And again, the exact definition of white privilege means an inherent advantage possessed by a white person on the basis of their membership in a society that's characterized by racial inequality and injustice. Those are facts. That is definitive, right? But what else is definitive? It is the same ideology that is making everything about race that made America racist in the past. Again, race is a pseudoscience. It's not real. It's all about inequality. It's about dehumanization through demoralization by reducing a person to a commodity, stripping them of their individualism. This is what this prompt is conveying. It strips a person of their intrinsic value and their individualism, and it makes you completely view them through a racial lens, which is racism.
Right. That part I don't disagree with you at all. I totally agree with you on that part.
Yeah, there's no truth to anything that is predicated upon race because it is a pseudoscience by default. And operating through the pseudoscience, again, you are a pseudo-intellectual. You're only complicit. You're not offering the panacea. You're offering the placebo. You cannot destroy racism by operating under the social construct of race, which is its true source of racism. That is what I'm talking about. Because that's not my opinion. All of that is complete consensus and aligns with scientific consensus across the board.
Right. Like I said, that part I don't disagree with. But I think the public at large sees it as, you know, when a person from the left side says, oh, well, you have your white privilege. A person from the right side, primarily white people, say, really, I got to check my card. What did I get for being white? I'm not rich. I don't have $1 million home. I don't have a Ferrari or a Lamborghini sitting in my driveway. They take it as a personal attack, thinking
it is a personal attack. That's what you're not understanding. It is a personal attack.
Yes.
It's racism.
Right.
But where's the disconnect? Where's the disconnect? Going up to someone who you do not know or drawing a conclusion about people who you do not know anything about, their intricacies about their life, their personality, them as an individual, and you draw a conclusion about that person in any capacity, and it's solely predicated on their skin color, that is a personal attack. That is racism. Period. They're not misinterpreting it when they say, yes, hold on, where's my privilege card then, since you're accusing me of having privilege? You're not misinterpreting it. Stop justifying pseudo-intellectualism. You're capping, you're glazing, that's what we call it, you're covering up racism. No one should be drawing conclusions based on someone's skin color. It is counterproductive. It's counterproductive. It is counterintuitive. It promotes racism.
But what I'm trying to say is, because they feel it's from a place of physical assets versus from a place of
also from a place of physical assets.
But I believe what the left is trying to say by it is it's more a fact of consideration, from opportunities. The left side forgets that, Black people have the same opportunity and operate under the same laws as white people. There's no differentiation there. When it comes to lawful consideration for anything in the world, whether it be the opportunity to make money or the opportunity to seize a particular job, we all have the same opportunity.
Daniel,
it's consideration.
I'm going to expedite this, right?
Sure.
Here's the thing, right? You are middle of the fence. Middle of the fence makes me apoplectic. You cannot sit up here and say that people who are actually experiencing racism, that they're misinterpreting racism. It's racism, period.
No, I'm not misinterpreting.
You are judging a person based on the color of their skin. You are ascribing certain traits and characteristics and attributes that is solely predicated on the color of their skin. That is the epitome of racism, period.
No, I'm not saying that I do that directly.
What is so hard for you to grasp? And you're saying that the left, they're just basically saying this. You're not paying attention. It is the same ideology, aka the left, that brought racism to the United States.
I don't disagree with that at all.
So what are you talking about then?
What I'm not saying I do directly. What I'm saying is people at large separate it into those two categories. And I think that's the part that we need to get past in saying that.
Daniel, so you do not disagree with my prompt?
No, I again, that's why I said I'm split on it.
How are you?
Because I can see both sides, but I don't believe. But in a way, I believe by making the statement and believing the pseudoscience of white privilege is racist. Yes. But I think the divide comes from how it's defined. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I'm not explaining myself clear enough. I don't know.
Daniel, you just like to ride the fence, bro. And I got to tell you, man, riding the fence is a very, very dangerous place. Sure. Those who ride the fence, they always end up having to deal with the blows of both sides of the fence.
Sure.
Right? Very dangerous place. You're saying that it is racism and yet justifying racism. That is asinine to me. I objectively hate racism. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm not going to fence ride racism. So I am eliminating its root cause, which is the social construct of race, which is a pseudoscience that's not rooted in biological reality. And we know that its true origins actually comes from elites who were slave owners. And we know that during its conception, that the slave owners were of all shades of skin, and slaves have always been of all shades of skin. Slavery never, ever has discriminated.
Agreed. No, so, that is a part I agree as well. But, so, you know, you say I'm a fence rider, you know, kind of stuck in the middle, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, because, you know, you are agreeing to the fact that there is a fence between the two sides. So don't we need fence riders to somehow reach down and try and bridge the fence to get both sides to get to the same common ground?
There's no
to eliminate racism.
Would you ever compromise with a pedo?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely.
There's no place for it
I don't compromise with pedos.
Yeah, no, I would not compromise with one. No, absolutely not. There's no middle ground on that. That's
absolutely.
I think that's intrinsically agreed upon on both sides.
And no. What do you mean? See, this is what I'm talking about fence riders. You guys are disingenuous. That's why you're a fence rider.
What do you mean?
Who advocates for talking to children about adult subjects such as sex, and taking kids to strip clubs, and walking around in a nude in front of children at their parades? The left. I don't like fence sitters. I'm not a big fan of fence sitters. They're a great existential threat to themselves and everyone who surrounds them.
No, I agree.
Hang around with dangerous people.
Exposing children to that kind of thing should not happen at all.
Yeah, so don't say that's on both sides of the fences. That's disingenuous, and that's a false equivalent, and it's insulting. Fence sitters are dangerous to themselves and everyone around them. I don't compromise with pedos, and I do not compromise with racists. There's no fence. But I appreciate you coming up.
I appreciate your time. And again, thank you so much for what you do. You know, it's, you know, you put up a good forum for people to be able to come on and have productive dialogue instead of just getting yelled at by each other, you know? So I appreciate it.
I have my days. Trust me, I have my days. The thing is, you were respectful, right? I just match people's energy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen your days, and you know, and I appreciate what you do, and it's necessary to have dialogue like this. It's needed, and I hope you keep pushing on and keep pushing forward with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I appreciate it, Daniel. But thanks for coming up.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Let's see. Yeah, you guys, I'm telling you, that's a very dangerous place to be. Very dangerous place to be. Here's the thing. I don't try to force people to conform to my views, but I'm just telling you, we all know from history, that's a very dangerous place to be.
So do you actually mean that, saying whites are privileged is racism?
My guy,
are you trolling?
We have structure. Please shut up. Oh my goodness. I got to tell you, man, troglodytes. Anyway, go ahead and tell me why you disagreed with the prompt without talking about yourself. Hold off on your questions.
Before I destroyed your argument, you just wanted to call me.
My guy, actually, get your bum ass out
here. You just want to diss me.
Get your stupid ass out of here. I got to tell you, it's like no regulation at all. Low IQ, right? Goodness gracious, what a remedial troglodyte at that. The epic portrayal of what I'm talking about. Get your dumb ass out of here. I know. Zero tolerance for stupidity. Anyway. Don, can you hear me?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to do that.
All right. Grace. No, the other guy goes to all the people who couldn't hear the troglodyte. He came up with a question off subject, talking about you voted for Donald Trump and blah, blah, blah. Troglodyte, low IQ. So, you guys know me, zero tolerance for intellectual cowardice. And this person only has 36 followers. But go ahead. Go ahead, Haley. Haley, come on up. Wait, you guys didn't hear the last guy? I'm not talking about the one I just dropped that I called a troglodyte. You guys didn't hear the last guy? Okay, wait. The last two. Are you talking about the woman I just dropped, and then the guy before? Did you guys hear the other guy that I had the long conversation with? Oh, so you guys heard Daniel. Oh, okay. We're Haley. Come on up. Go ahead and accept the request. You didn't miss anything. She said I fell asleep. You're all right. You're all right, Don. Okay. All right. So Haley has been deported. Zero tolerance for intellectual cowardice. So, is there anyone else in the live who disagrees with the prompt who would like to come on up and tell me why you disagree with the prompt without talking about yourself and hold off on your questions? And you guys, the reason why I'm going live so early today, because I got a lot of stuff that I have to do today and then try to be back and do a second installment. A lot. Yeah, you guys, you know, you can't, we get, whoa, I keep forgetting this mic picks up so well. I got to be careful about where I place my headphones. Anyway, you guys, I understanding where another person is coming from, right? I mean, that's very important, right? Especially, I mean, that's needed for debate, to understand a person's worldview. But what I would never ever do is, where I know there's no common ground, is try to establish common ground. You can't do that. This is why what was I saying last night, you guys? You never ever compromise with a tyrannical ideology. The only person who loses when you compromise with a tyrannical ideology is the person that's not a tyrant. That tyrant just gained more ground through your compromise. Our constitutional republic, you guys, it is a non-negotiable. We never, ever reason with tyranny. Non-negotiable. You know, I wish we could revive that bold spirit of the founding fathers. If we had that bold spirit of our founding fathers and the tenacity, America, we know, would be almost like heaven on earth, because we will be beholden to our founding documents. Don't you listen? Haven't you noticed at the most pivotal times in American history, when we were pointed in the right direction, is when we held our country to the standards of our founding documents. That's what I love about our founding documents. It exposes people. It exposes our government. That's why original intent is so important. This is why we keep telling people this country was built by radicals. And so I don't take it as an insult when they go, you're a radical Christian, you're a radical Republican, you're a radical conservative, you're a radical constitutionalist. Duh. As if that's something wrong with that. It was built by radical Christians. We have a constitutional republic, radical Republican. Duh. This is what I'm talking about, you guys. We're so far off the marker. But it's cool. It's okay for them to be radical pedophiles, radical child mutilators, radical child unalivers, radical God haters, radical American haters, radical racist. That's everything that's wrong. Not us. And this country wasn't made for people like that. You can get mad if you want to. It's a fact. We have given up so much ground to this wicked ideology. But here's the thing. Because of who this country belongs to, we are never too far from restoration. Ever. Ever. Amazing. This coffee is amazing. But you guys, I got to tell you, we got a lot of work to do. And look, you guys, I had to show people the meaning of populace the other day, because a lot of people don't know what the true definition of populace means, right? And the populace with the LUS at the end of it is a movement that is MAGA. MAGA is a populace movement where we hold the elites accountable and we make our country do the will of we the people. And this is why these people who are so loyal, so faithful to the unconstitutional corporate America that's not supposed to exist, that's why they hate MAGA. MAGA is another version of radical Republicans who are fighting against this elitist, subhuman, tyrannical, racist, subjugative ideology as they had to fight in the past. That's all that MAGA is. Radical Republicans who believes in taking power back from the elites and putting it back into the hands of we the people. That's it. And they can't stand us for it because we don't bend the damn knee for government, for handouts, for identity politics, for the cute victimhood appeal, for entitlements, to pander. We do not have suicidal empathy. We don't hate our country. And there's a difference between hating your government and hating your country. It is perfectly fine to never ever love your government. You should never trust your government in the first place. But hating your country, that's why you don't belong here. How in the hell can you hate your country? Makes no sense. America, the country that people claim to hate so much, they refuse to leave it. How crazy is that? The country that people lie upon so much that says is the home of white supremacy, people risk their lives to come to it illegally. Actions speak louder than words, huh? We see through the hypocrisy. We see through all the lies and the smoke screen. It's time for us, Americans, to stop accommodating our Trojan horses because of our suicidal empathy and apathy and virtue signaling and grandstanding. We are literally ushering in our own destruction of the only constitutional republic in human history. And I'm telling you, their favorite weapon is this damn social construct of race. You even have people coming in here so purposely sycophant, lying to my damn face, telling us that if you don't like Islam, you're a racist. We know that doesn't make any damn sense whatsoever. We know that Islam is a worldview, but they'll tell you you're a racist. They have everything as phobia for anything that aligns itself with this leftist ideology. When have you ever heard the damn left or anyone say there's something called Christian phobia? Never. What does that tell you? Birds of the same feather flock together. Satan, his kingdom, is not divided. The problem, though, is that our kingdom is. And this is why Satan's kingdom has come into our kingdom and starting to take our kingdom over. Wake up, America. This is Christ's country, and it will stay that way. And it's going to get to the point where Christians are going to get so fed up because our government doesn't tell we the people what to do. We tell our government what to do. And this is the reason why our fathers wrote the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution to be used in tandem. I'll catch you all later. I gotta take care of some business. Blessings. Good to see you all, my family. God bless you and your families. And God bless America.